Episode 6 opens up with Miss Cobell getting a call from Mr. Grainer. He claims that Ragabi, a former employee of Lumen, was the one who cracked reintegration and that he will find her. She then kneels to her shrine of her late husband. We don't know much about him yet, but this could come into play later on. Mark is at home and goes through Petey's cell phone before hopping in his car to head to work. Then he stops, puts his car in reverse, takes apart the battery of the phone, and tosses it into the trash can before he heads to work. Irv and Bert are spending more time together. This time, it's a room full of plants that Bert wanted to show Irv. He says this can be just for us, our secret place. They hold hands again, and Bert says the Lumen manual doesn't discourage lip-to-lip contact. Irv just isn't ready yet, and he apologizes to Bert. Devin then takes her newborn baby to a park at the birthing retreat place, and she runs into the woman from last week, the one she had coffee with. This woman does not recognize her at all. She reminds her that they had coffee together, and the woman plays it off like she does remember, even though she doesn't. Then her husband shows up. It's very awkward, and the husband pulls her away from the conversation, leaving Devin very confused. Mark's in, he continues reading Rickon's book, his favorite new hobby, and then Bert says the group should head over to O&D immediately. Dylan, of course, is against this again, but they all ponder what O&D actually does. But Irv is against Mark and Helly's plan to map out the floor. Then Dylan senses a flirtatious relationship between Mark and Helly, and Mark denies this. Then Mr. Milchek shows up, and the group says that they were talking about Miss Casey, wondering where she is. Mark is then with Miss Cobell, and she tells him that Miss Casey is no longer with them because she failed at her task to keep Helly in line because Mark took her for a walk last episode. Mark then gets a little impatient. He asks Miss Cobell what it is they actually do here. He really wants some answers here. Cobell then screams at him, "We serve Kier." And then she says, the hallway privileges are now revoked for MDR. Dylan then questions Helly about her relationship with Mark. She denies having any feelings. Then Mark breaks the news that they can't roam the hallway anymore until they hit the quota. Irv steps up and takes the blame because he's always trying to go off to see Bert. But then Mark asks Irv how to get to O&D, and the whole team take off, breaking the rule immediately. Cobell sees this on her security cam, and she sends Milchek after them. Bert shows the whole team all the employees that O&D have, and they are all shocked about how many people are actually there. Bert introduces all of MDR to O&D and says they are all welcome here from here on out. The two teams ask each other about their work, but neither really know what they are doing. They just have random guesses. And Mark tells Bert they found a department that are raising baby goats. Mark says the two departments should work together to find out what is actually going on and how big the place is and how many employees are actually on the severed floor. Mark then speaks out against Lumen. Again, he's getting very impatient. He says, "Why don't they tell us what we are doing here? What are they so afraid of?" Bert agrees, saying Kier would want them all to be true partners. He says they should contact the GOAT department to see what they know to find out more about what is actually going on. While they were in this room, Dylan picks up a card that was in O&D as Milchek walks in. He stuffs it into his back pocket as they are all sent back to MDR. At MDR, Cobell is waiting for them. She tells Mark she trusted him and he betrayed that trust. Then he is sent to the break room by Grainer. As he is going into the break room, Miss Casey is coming out. Mark tells her he is sorry as he feels responsible that she was in the break room in the first place. Mark's Audi is now at dinner with Devin's friend Alexa as they try again since the first date didn't go too well. Devin is then doing research on the woman that didn't recognize her in the park. Turns out her name is Gabriella, and she is married to a senator who is very pro-Severance. So now Devin's trying to figure out what's really going on. Then Devin and Rickon are looking for a babysitter. Who shows up? Miss Selvig, a.k.a. Cobell. She's the one interviewing for the job to take care of Rickon and Devin's kid. So she's trying to get even more close to Mark and his family. What is she up to here? Turns out she's really good with the baby, and she impresses Rickon and Devin. Then Dylan's innie is woken up at his house by Milchek. He wants the card back that Dylan stole from O&D. Dylan tells Milchek he didn't take it home. He hid it in the bathroom at work. Then Dylan's son walks in, and this blows his mind. Again, Dylan's Annie had no idea of his Audi's life, so he realizes he has a son, and this causes Milchek to panic. He tells someone to turn it off, so then Dylan's Audi wakes up again. So now that we learn Severance can be activated anywhere, you don't have to just be at the severed access floor. That's a big revelation. Then Mark and Alexa are walking down the street, continuing their date, and Mark sees a poster for June's band, PD's daughter, and it turns out they're playing a show right now. He asks Alexa if they can go, and they go check it out. It's a punk rock band, and they're singing a song that is basically "Fuck you, Lumen, fuck you, Lumen." Mark joins in on this chant as his innie and his outie are really starting to rebel from Lumen. He talks to June after the show to see how she is holding up, but then a fight breaks out, so they leave. Mark then explains to Alexa that June is the daughter of Petey, who died. As he explains this to Alexa, she kisses him. Then Mr. Grainer shows up at Miss Selvig's house. He says that he found some info on Ragabi. He found where she is operating out of, and he plans to go over there. Cobell says, "Let me know what you find out." Then Mark goes back into the trash can looking for Petey's cell phone that he tossed earlier. He puts it back together and immediately receives a phone call. He answers. It's Ragabi. She knows it's Mark. She says, "What did he tell you before he died?" Mark says, "Nothing. He just wants to understand." She tells Mark to come meet her right now. He goes to the location, and Ragabi asks if Mark is alone. Turns out she's at the school that Mark used to teach at. She then says, "Come with me," as the episode ends.